Welcome to the show, guys. Happy Monday. Excited to talk about the waiver wires at each position and also rip into the studs and sucks at each position. I got it here. I'm ready to dive in along with the latest fantasy football news and notes and injuries. And on this show, we've got the great, the powerful, and he took a week off last week, but he's back. Jim, a.k.a. the Maverick. What's happening, man?
Hey, counselor. Is this a wrestling match? Or is that what's going on here? I'm coming into the ring.
It's funny you say that because I watched the UFC. Man, what a fight. It was Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree. What a fight that was. So yes, I'm still kind of in that fight mode. So yeah, I had to give you a proper intro there. I'm excited. Got the energy high today. Okay, so we're going to go through every single position, starting with quarterbacks, going all the way to tight end, listing the studs and sucks at each position, talking about some latest news and notes, highlights, and of course, some waiver wire suggestions at each position. At this point, your team should pretty much be solidified, aside from picking up a couple guys here and there. But you know, Jim, how we start this show every single time. We started off with the latest news and notes, but even before we get to that, make sure you guys do hit the thumbs up, smash it, tap it, slap it, and drop a question below. I want to make this as interactive as I possibly can and try to get to as many waiver wire questions as we possibly can, okay? So I'm excited to dive in. And of course, join the Counselor's Edge. I was crushing it yesterday with my picks against the spread. Counselor's Edge, if you want the edge in bets, in betting against the spread, money line, and props, linked it below. Join the Counselor's Edge. It's going to give you a massive advantage. Join below. All right, so let's talk about the latest news and notes here with our friend, Jim. It's been a while.
We now have breaking news.
Breaking Brad. Again, we got some fantasy news, but I do want to talk about something that happened here. Just saw it across my page while we're recording this. It's kind of off field, but Patriots safety Jabril Peppers was arrested Saturday on charges including assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, choking somebody, and possession of the Coca-Cola. Well, we're not talking about the Coca-Cola. We're talking not the drink. Peppers was arrested in Braintree, Massachusetts, where police said they responded to a disturbance at a residence early Saturday morning and arrested Mr. Peppers after investigating. The victim was treated on scene. There's no word of the severity of the victim's injuries. So, man, I don't get it. These players, they got everything going for them, and then this off-field stuff happens, Jim. It's such a shame. It really is.
Yeah, and somehow he was able to play on Sunday, right?
Did he? Well, he was arrested. No, he was arrested on Saturday, so I don't think he played.
He was arrested on Saturday, but did he play on Sunday?
I don't know. I didn't even see. I don't watch the Patriots game. Did he play? We got to look that up. All right, look that up while I'm going over the news here, Jim, if you don't mind. See if he played. Okay, so yeah, that sucks. It is what it is, but no real fantasy relevance unless he's stopping somebody there. Okay, while you're doing that,
log. Did he play Did he play yesterday? No, he did not. So
no, I figured if he was arrested, I don't know if he was held or whatever, but I just saw this across my feed now, so I wanted to bring that up. Just a shame when these players do that. Going into fantasy news though, Aaron Rodgers, his ankle. I don't know if you saw that. Were you watching that game in the morning? I don't know if you ended up seeing that game.
Happened to play Aaron Rodgers this weekend because because Hurts was on bye, so I actually had to play him. Was not thrilled with that. That was a sucky game for Rodgers. I don't know. I guess he wasn't too bad. He was QB 16. That's about what I would have expected from him. So,
well, the reason I'm talking about him is his ankle he's expected to be ready for week 6 after suffering that ankle sprain. He sprained his ankle. He fell down. It looked serious, and then he came back on the field. So what a trooper there. Nico Collins came out of that game after a touchdown, still did well. He's considered day-to-day after leaving the game with a hamstring injury. So that's good news for the breakout wide receiver.
Maybe hamstrings suck, man. Those are evil injuries.
It could linger. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Fryermuth had 3 receptions on 3 targets for 22 yards. Just a couple other notes here that are standing out. Anything else here that's popping out here that we need to...
Devin Achane suffered a concussion, so he's going to be out a week. And Aaron Jones had a hip injury. He also missed time in the game yesterday.
I saw that. So, yeah, Achane, well, the guy that we were kind of concerned about, he was very high on the ADP coming off the injury last year. He was injured again. So again, you got to watch out for these guys. They send signals before, like a guy like Anthony Richardson, right? And did you see Flacco? Flacco did well. You know what I mean? Like he did well, like statistically compared to, if you compare what he did compared to what Anthony Richardson did. Listen to this. Flacco, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in that game, man. Passer rating of 121.3. So
Yeah, QB4. Pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah, excluding the Monday game. So again, this is something you got to look at. You got to look at trends. You got to ask yourself, like, should I invest a top pick in a guy who's ranked top 5 across the board? Probably not. You don't want to do that. So anyway, I had to bring that up here. The latest news and notes. So make sure you guys take a look at your injuries, and next week you don't start the guys that are obviously injured, and you guys are monitoring this. And we're going to help you do that. And we do a starts and sits show as well. So turn on the bell here, okay? So let's go here to the quarterbacks here. Quarterback studs and sucks. And let's start off with some studs here at the quarterback position. Kirk Cousins, 34.4 points. Amazing game. We saw that in the early window. I think that was the Thursday game, or when was that? Thursday game? Yeah.
Yeah, that was Thursday.
4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's 2. Lamar Jackson, Flacco, Kyler, Caleb, Baker Mayfield, Bo Nix, Geno Smith, and Daniel Jones to round out the top 10. I mean, some names here that, like, prior to the season, you'd be like, Joe Flacco. Who would have thought, like, hey, man, week 5, Joe Flacco was a top 10 guy, or Bo Nix even, right? I saw
or Baker Mayfield. Come on. He's the QB7 this week. And Bo Nix, that's crazy. He's the 8th. I'm like, how was he the QB8? Oh, he ran a touchdown in. So he got like 23 fantasy points, but 7 of that was because of a rushing touchdown. So, I wouldn't expect that to keep happening.
Did you see him fighting with Sean Payton at the sideline? There was the clip that went kind of viral where he's just kind of yelling at Payton at the sideline. Steamed up. I don't know if you saw that.
Maybe Peyton is wishing that he had Russell Wilson back. He's like,
Yeah.
why did we break up, Russell Wilson? Come on.
Exactly.
Nobody's at fault here. Come back to Denver.
Man, oh man, Russell's on the bench right now anyway.
I know.
Okay, so those guys did well. A couple guys that sucked. I got to mention Andy Dalton. Remember, he came out hot, his first run with Carolina. Only 3.7 fantasy points. Didn't even throw a touchdown. And 1 interception. Dalton going back to Dalton, it looks like, right?
Yeah, Dalton is Dalton, man. I mean, I was not that is what I was expecting to happen on week 2. So how about Josh Allen, man? He's so hot and cold, man. He has a great week, and then he has a nothing week. He was the QB17. I got to tell you, the people that took Josh Allen are pissed right now when you get QB17 performance off of the first quarterback taken off the board.
And what pisses me off, like, I actually watched that game, and being a Keon Coleman, and I'm glad he got the touchdown finally. It's like I was really watching that game, and he wasn't throwing the ball. Like, he just wasn't throwing a lot. I think the first half was
9 completions, 131 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 passing touchdown.
I don't get it.
What the hell is wrong with you, Josh Allen?
He's just not throwing. And you could say, oh, well, his receivers. But, like, every time he throws to Keon Coleman, I mean, aside from the time he hit him this week, I don't know if you saw that. He hit him, boinked him off the head. Boing, right off the head. Obviously, Keon Coleman needs some polishing for sure. But it seems like every time he throws to him, he's a success. Remember that one week where he was sidelined, Keon Coleman, or, because he was being punished. He comes out for one play, boom, throws it, touchdown. Like, he's just not, still the volume isn't there. Like, he's not throwing as much as he should in general, right? And Matt Collins was looking bad. It was terrible. Khalil Shakir was out. But I don't know, man, just Josh Allen, just terrible. A lot of handoffs. And they're handing it off on, like, 3rd and 8. Or not even 3rd and 8. Like, downs where they just need to get the ball past the line of scrimmage or past the first down marker. And they're handing it off on, a play where you need the yardage. Like, why are you throwing behind the marker expecting your Curtis Samuel to make a play? I saw that one play. I don't even know what it was. It must have been, I think it was 3rd and 8 or something like that. And he throws to Curtis Samuel behind the line of scrimmage. And Curtis Samuel gets, like, what do you expect? It's Curtis Samuel. What do you expect Curtis Samuel to grab the ball, dodge 30 defenders and run for a touchdown? Like, throw the ball downfield. It blows my mind, Jim. I'm pissed off.
Yeah, I think also the loss of Stephon Diggs is a lot more significant than most people thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just subpar play, and I think it's just because the receiver group is not great. It's not a great receiver group, and it really shows. So.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Any other sucks? Sam Darnold comes back.
Sam Darnold came back to earth. Finally came back to earth. They still won. I can't believe Minnesota's 5-0. That's just shocks. That shocks me. I don't know.
I can't believe it, but didn't throw for a touchdown that game. And 1 interception, 4.3 fantasy points out of him. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we talked about him. What do you have, like 12 something points? Deshaun Watson, what's up with him, man? He is looking rough. He's going through some rough patches there. Coming off the field, I think it was a fourth down or something. He was coming off the field. He looks terrible. Like,
I think he's busted. I just think
done.
I think he's done. I think he's done. I don't think his shoulder's good, and it shows. And this is just, I mean, the good news for Deshaun Watson is he has all that guaranteed money. He got 100% guaranteed contract. So good for Deshaun Watson for getting that. Because you certainly were not worth it. So
overpaid, underdelivered.
and good for Houston for getting rid of him. I mean, they really turned it on. Oh yeah, CJ Stroud was another one who didn't do good this week. Obviously the loss of Nico Collins, I think, really affected him. But I mean, I guess he did average QB 14, not what you want from someone like CJ Stroud. So.
Yeah, I got him at 15.9 points, QB 60, unless we're looking at different rankings by a bit. So either way, give or take, he's mid-pack. So some waiver wire considerations here. I mean, I guess Bo Nix, if he's still available.
I think that's just, I mean, again, it's because he got the rushing touchdown that he looks good. The only one I'm really interested right now would be Joe Flacco. I think Flacco, if he's available, try to get him. I was looking at the rest of the bunch, and I'm just like not excited. I mean, would you be excited about picking up Daniel Jones? I don't
not really.
Maybe Daniel Jones, but I was just like, I was looking at the list. I'm like, man, the only one I would really want is Joe Flacco. So,
all right, moving on to running backs here. This is going to be a good one, Jim. But before I even do that, guys, make sure you head on over to mybookie.ag. Use promo code FFC. Get in on the action. It's Monday Night Football today. For the UFC, for other sports, you can get in on the action. This is the site I use, the site I trust. And when you put in a deposit, let's say it's $100, you get 100% match deposit. So it's like playing with house money. So if put 100 in, you get a free 100 to play with the code FFC. So mybookie.ag, go create an account right now. Enhance that game watching experience right now. If you want my picks as well, Counselor's Edge below. But the combo together with MyBookie and the Counselor's Edge, man, oh man, you're going to rake it in. So mybookie.ag, the code you want to use, FFC, go create an account right now. All right, so let's go to this, Jim. Let's talk about these running back studs and sucks. And look who's on top, man. My guy, Tank Bigsby.
Yes. Did you look at the top? Who's the top 5 this week? Listen to these names. Tank Bigsby, DeAndre Swift, Rico Dowdle, Ramondre Stevenson, and Trey Sermon are the top 5 running backs this week. That's insane. What in the hell is going on?
Man, I talked about another show. It almost feels like, I swear, this because these guys, the NFL is in cahoots with these prop sites and bet sites. I'm almost thinking they're doing this on purpose because they want the committees, they want the distribution, they don't want certainty at any position. They don't want you to know, oh, that guy is guaranteed to have over 84 rushing yards. There's so much uncertainty, Jim. Like, Tank Bigsby, this is a guy I called him my guy because I was on him last year before everyone saw. I always thought he was better than ETN. Now we're kind of finally seeing it, like averaging 7.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns yesterday, 25.9 points. He's the guy. And I was pissed last year that he didn't get the volume. Mind you, I've got no Tank Bigsby this stock this year. I was looking at him as a sleeper. But man, oh man, like, look at these guys. I mean, Rico Dowdle sucks. I can't believe he had 19.4. But I mean, Zeke is.
I think I know what happened there because, the Steelers are an awesome rush defense. But I think what they did was they absolutely sold out to lock down CeeDee Lamb because CeeDee Lamb did not do that much last night. I think that's what they did. And it just kind of opened up the short game and allowed him to get, a lot of production because he only got 4.4 yards per carry. It wasn't like he was explosive on the field or anything like that. But clearly he's in the driver's seat. It's not Zeke. Zeke was used like a handful of times. So he is the lead back in Dallas. And so he should continue to get that kind of volume. But I think that was just the game plan of the Steelers, I think, was to do that. Did it work? Did they win? I'm trying. Dallas won. Dallas won at the last second last night, didn't they?
Yeah. I had Dallas to cover. I thought Dallas would have won that game too. So, but yeah, I mean, looking at this, man, it's just wild. Like Trey Sermon, like I said, James Cook getting a lot of volume. Chuba Hubbard, Derrick Henry, I got him excited. Jacobs and Chase Brown around at the top 10 here. And then you got some weird guys that finished 13th, like Dare Ogabawali, like Houston, he got some work, obviously, with Mixon being out. Rashawn Johnson, Amir Abdullah for Las Vegas, dude. Amir Abdullah
Yeah, five touches,
got a
42
touchdown.
yards, and he got a touchdown. That's why he's so valuable. But I wouldn't expect that to repeat. That's way too
Yeah,
low volume to expect anything from. Yeah, I mean, for me, like the top pickups for this week, Tank Bigsby definitely. I think he would definitely be a top
yeah,
waiver wire pickup. I think also Raheem Mostert, if you see him on your waiver wire because of the odd chain concussion, so he should get some volume. And I think also Ty Chandler because of the Aaron Jones hip injury. I think those would be the top three that I would pick. But yeah, Tyrone Tracy, Dare Ogumbawale,
yeah,
Alexander Madison, Trey Sermon, Chase Brown. All those guys got really decent volume yesterday.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So let's talk about the suck of the week. I got to talk about this. This is like the elephant in the room. Like, we really have to have this conversation here. Like, Brees Hall, like, what do you have? Like 6.7 fantasy points.
Yeah,
Brees
I don't know what's going on there. And
Hall,
it's not like it's not like who's his backup?
Braylon Allen.
Yeah, Braylon. That's not like Braylon Allen was doing anything
No,
either. They were both kind of
3.8.
shut down.
3.8 fantasy points for Braylon Allen. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I mean, like, there's so much talent in that backfield, and they're just not producing. What do you have? 9 attempts,
2.6 yards per carry. That's pathetic.
Man, like, that burns me. Like, I don't have a lot of his stock because I ended up either going Byjan or Saquon in a lot of my leagues. Even Byjan, 10.7 points. I guess he's still banged up a little bit, hamstring. They're not talking about it. And that was another thing that pissed me off when I'm watching that game. I'm doing good. I got Drake London in one league. I got Kirk Cousins in another league, and in a super flex league where I went heavy running back. And they're not giving it to Byjan. And then, like, it's the game-winning drive, and Algiers on the field. Like, it just, oh man, I don't know. I think they're doing this on purpose. Like, the talented guys are taking a back seat sometimes. It blows my mind, Jim. It blows my mind. This year has been wild. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy when you're looking at these highly ranked players not doing anything. I mean it's just like what in the world is going on these teams?
Yeah.
It's causing this to happen.
Yeah, it blows my mind. So Brees Hall is a suck of the week. Aaron Jones also, he got hurt, but still 6.3. Those two guys really, really jump out at me as guys that suck. And then guys like Justice Hill, who people thought would do stuff, 3.5 points, didn't really get involved. Zeke Elliott sucked, 1.7 points. People probably started him. Anyone else? Jordan Mason, only 8.8 points. We more out of him. Najee, you think with the injuries in that backfield, he would have done better, 9.7 points. Madison, only 10.1 point, like nothing. Like, this is a guy with Zamir White out. You have the opportunity, 15 attempts, 2.5 yards per carry, typical Madison. So you got to, like, look at this and say, hey, man, like, some of these guys going back to their original form, but a lot of guys that should be doing well just not doing well, including Brees Hall.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and we're getting to that time of the year, man. We're getting to that time of the year where the injuries are starting to accumulate.
Yeah.
And even if they're not injured, they're injured. They're still injured. They're still dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
So this is what we're gonna. This is a lot of what we're gonna see. We're gonna see more and more of these injuries and these really disappointing performances because they are hurt. They just didn't tell anybody. So
Yeah. They're not telling us. All right, let's rip through wide receivers here. Studs and sucks, and of course waiver wire. I can't believe I'm saying this. Is it waiver wire week 6? Are we there already? Waiver wire.
Yes, it is. It is waiver wire week 6.
I can't believe I said 6 already. Like, man, waiver wire. Okay. So guys that did well, and Jamar Chase, Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, T. Higgins finally, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Slayton, believe it or not, because of course our man Malik was out, Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, Brian Thomas Jr., Brandon Ayuk, and Alec Pierce, who had that big touchdown. I started him in one of my leagues. I mean,
Alec Pierce, only 3 targets. Only 3 targets. The guy got 3 catches for 134 yards. That's crazy. And a touchdown. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, Alec Pierce got it done, man. Just got done with very minimal volume. I mean, who would have thought 3 targets, 3 receptions, 134 yards. Like, imagine if they were feeding him. And that's what I talk about. It's like so much talent is on the field. Like, they never get the opportunity. They never get targeted as much, and they get suppressed. And such talent gets, pushed to the side. It's such a shame. So Alec Pierce, another guy I was on last year, or a year or two ago, just never got it going. Finally kind of waking up a little bit like a sleeping giant here. The guys that sucked, we got to talk about this. There's so much sucking going on here. DK Metcalf, wide again, excluding the Monday games. What do you have? DK Metcalf, 7.5 points. What a shame. This is a guy that was drafted 3rd round. Keenan Allen, Jim, 6.3 points. Again, I told you to avoid that guy. Marvin Harrison Jr., 5.6 fantasy points, 2nd round pick. What a shame, Jim. What a shame. Shame.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's terrible. Deontay Johnson's down here also.
Yeah.
5.9 fantasy points. I mean, Cortland Sutton, no surprise. I had so many players on bye this week and injuries I'm dealing with. And then on Saturday, news comes out that Romeo Doubs is suspended for the game.
Right.
So I ended up having to start players like Cortland Sutton. I didn't want to, but I had to.
Yeah.
And he goes and gives me 5.2 points,
Yeah, I was scrambling too. I ended up starting Alec Pierce, which worked out for me, but I had Saquon Barkley on bye and I had Jahmyr Gibbs in another league on bye. It sucked, man. It sucks when some of your top players are on bye, but other guys, these sleepers, step up. But also like Wicks, everyone's talking about Dotavian Wicks.
Well, his volume was still good. He got 7 targets. He only came down with 2. And that's why he sucks. So I'm not concerned about him. He's getting the volume, and you've got the injury to Christian Watson. So
and Dobbs was out.
Yeah, Dobbs was out too. So I think he's fine. I think he's fine going forward. It's just a bad week.
How about this guy? I mean, everybody prior to the season, I remember clear as day. Now everyone's ripping on me on Keon Coleman. He hasn't been great, but nobody really has. But everybody was saying that Curtis Samuel's the one there. Curtis Samuel, 0.9 points. There you go.
Anyone who thought that Curtis Samuel was the one needs to go see if they suffered a concussion during the offseason.
Oh, yeah. It was a top podcast. I got to post it, actually. It was one of the top so-called Consheeps' podcasts was pushing Curtis Samuel. So maybe I should post that video. Maybe I will today. All right. So I would say suck of the week, Marvin Harrison, 5.6. Debo Samuel, 3.0. There's a lot. There's a lot of suck.
There is. There's plenty of suckage to go around, counselor. That's for sure.
A lot of suckage. All right, tight ends, Jim. Why don't you rhyme?
Oh, wait. Let's talk about the
waiver
waiver wire here because there were some good performances. Darnell Mooney got 16 targets yesterday. Now, we saw how many passes that Cousins did. I think that's probably a reflection of this, but that's still really good usage. Kirk Cousins always utilized his wide receiver 2 a lot, so I like that. I like him to pick up. Josh Downs got 12 targets. Darius Slayton got 11. I wouldn't count on that for future weeks. Jordan Whittington of the Rams got 10 targets. He seems to be like a guy that's kind of emerged there as a leading receiver. Alan Lazard got 10 targets. Tutu Atwell got 10 targets. Wan'Dale Robinson got 9. Ray McLeod got 9 targets. So there are some really good options on the waiver wire this week if you need to pick up one of these players. So
yeah, just watch out for Atlanta. That was an inflated game. I don't see that happening ever again.
Yes. But I wouldn't expect Darnell Mooney to get 16 targets in a game either. No. That's kind of unusually high. But he has been getting pretty decent volume this season, regardless. Yeah. So I like him as a waiver wire pickup for sure.
All right, let's move on to tight ends here. Tight end studs and sucks here. I always say it. I'm going to say it again. I don't expect much out of these guys because they're tight ends and they kind of suck. But Tucker Kraft, Brock Bowers, George Kittle, Isaiah Likely, Kyle Pitts, Charlie Kolar, Baltimore. Charlie Kolar. Who is that? Right? It's like.
God. Yeah, I know. It's like, and what, Mark Andrews didn't get targeted again? Or no, I think he got 1 target or something. Mark Andrews. Yeah. Oh, no, he got 5 targets. 4 catches, 55 yards. Okay, so he did do something.
But listen to Charlie Kolar, okay? Let's just talk about him. He's been in the NFL for 3 seasons. He was a 4th round pick, and he's done nothing. Prior to this game, I think he had 1 touchdown in 2023. Then he had a touchdown. He's done nothing his entire career. Zero, zilch, nothing. He's been in the league since 2022. then he becomes like, imagine if I told you, Jim, like, week 5 fantasy football, you got to start that Charlie Kolar guy. Like, I mean, like nobody started. Like, I started Brenton Strange. Because Ingram's out. And I saw like a great matchup. So I had Brenton Strange, like, because tight end, like, so he finished top 10. I'm happy with that. Colby Parkinson, we kind of been seeing that, right? But Charlie Kolar, Baltimore tight end, 15.6 fantasy points. Unbelievable. Like, I'm not picking him up off waiver wire. Like, that's I don't trust this.
Tight end is such a wasteland. I mean, I'm looking at this. Mo Alley Cox was the tight end 10 this past week on 2 catches.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. I'm just like, it is such a garbage dump for tight ends. Outside of like Brock Bowers looks fantastic, right? He looks great. Tucker Kraft got 2 touchdowns, so he was lucky because he only had 5 targets. But oh my God. I mean, Isaiah Likely, 3 targets. Charlie Kolar, 4 targets. Brenton Strange, 4 targets. I mean, you can't rely on this for fantasy, just because these guys were lucky enough to get a touchdown this past week.
But Bowers, Kittle, and Colby, higher targets. 13 for Colby Parkinson. I mean, someone's got to catch the ball. So, but only 7 receptions for 12 points. But that's pretty consistent for a tight end. I like that. I like that usage for Parkinson.
Yeah, that's perfect usage. And actually, he would be my top waiver wire pickup.
Yeah,
would be Colby Parkinson this week.
He's available.
So, we also had Jonnu Smith and Zach Ertz, an oldie but a goodie. Both got 8 targets this past week. So I like them also if you're looking for a tight end.
Man, oh man, it's just a disaster at this position. Suck of the week. I mean, they all kind of suck, but David Njoku, because he had 2.4 points. I would say David Njoku, Gesicki, what do you have, like 5 points? Pat Freiermuth did okay, just under 10 points. Kincaid, 5.4. 5.4.
Kincaid. I mean, you had to take him in like the 3rd round if you wanted him. I mean, it's just
way too expensive.
You're just kicking yourself if you took a tight end early this year.
Yeah.
And of course, we haven't seen what Kelsey's going to do tonight. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, not great. Not a great situation.
All right, let's go over some defenses, Jim. Some defenses to start for this week.
Okay. Yeah. So I was looking at the week 6 matchups, and here's what I like. We got Chicago playing Jacksonville at home.
Yeah.
Houston is at New England, so I like that. Philly's playing Cleveland at home. The Rams are at Denver, so I think that's a good matchup.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is at Las Vegas. I like that matchup. And Atlanta is at Carolina. So I think all those are decent options for defenses this week. Chicago's defense is pretty good for fantasy this year. They get the turnovers, man.
I just read that Drake May, Patriots rookie, could potentially make his debut this week against the Texans. Just came across my feed.
Good. One more lamb to the slaughter, I guess, huh?
Or a waiver wire of the year pickup. Drake May.
There you go, man. Pick him up.
Yeah. You never know, man. I've seen crazier stuff. You never know, man.
That's true. That's true. So
welcome to the Wild West of fantasy football. And again, as we're doing our strategy for next year, there's a lot more we're learning and we're adapting because there's just so much more committee action, right? Like, it almost seems like sometimes these second-year players, like a guy like Tank Bigsby, emerges because the guy in front of him isn't doing too well. Like, we kind of saw that, so maybe we should have picked up a little more Bigsby and kind of laid off some of these rookies guys like Benson, even though I thought Benson would have, as a 3rd-round pick, one of the top broken tackle guys in college, would have done better. He didn't. They're still running.
Wasn't Bigsby a 2nd-round pick?
Was he? I don't know. I got to take a look. Yeah, he was pretty high up there. I liked Bigsby last year. they never gave him the volume. Yeah, he was a 3rd-round pick as well.
Oh, 3rd-round pick. Okay, yeah. So, Bigsby is a guy I like completely ignored during the drafting season. Even though he was always like a 17th or 18th round pick. He was like some guy you just picked up at the very end. And when you look at the situation, they didn't add anyone to that backfield.
Right.
It was still just Etienne in front of him. You knew he was probably going to get some opportunity there. So that's something to consider when you're looking at players next year is if they're in that sort of situation where the number 2 behind a lead back and there's nobody else that's been drafted behind them, there's a good opportunity that they can see the field. And so I think that's what's happened here.
Even
So
Chase Brown, another guy that we talked
yeah,
about, we saw him on our radar and just didn't really jump out. Like I was all about I was all about don't draft ETN. I didn't believe in ETN. I was not a fan of ETN. I got a half right. I just didn't make a move on Bigsby in a lot of leagues, which I should have done that a little bit more. I always saw the
right.
talent, and I did last year. Just like I see the talent in guys like Trey Benson. Like that's the thing. There's so much buried talent that just doesn't get the opportunity. Kyron Williams. He would have never, if there wasn't an injury prior, in front of him last year, he would have never got the opportunity to really shine. We see how good he is. There's so many guys, man, that are just sitting there like ready to take off, including guys like Trey Benson, but they're not getting the opportunity. They just, how are you supposed to do anything if you don't get any volume? And then,
Yeah, we're still early in the season, and Blake Corum's another example. Some guy, he finally got on the field this past week. Finally, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to James Conner always gets injured. He always misses time. So it's just a matter of time before it happens and Trey Benson gets his opportunities. So
it should have been sooner though, but it is what it is. All right, man. Thank you guys for being here. Waiver Wire NFL Week 6. Can you believe it? And those are your studs and sucks. Jim, thanks for being on, man. Appreciate it.
hey, thank you, counselor.